It says, if you try to keep your life for yourself, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you will find true life. That is such an incredible promise at the end of this instructions from Jesus. Today I'm talking about attractive love and what that looks like. When you study Jesus, Jesus was incredibly attractive. How do I know that? Just by reading his word and by reading the accounts of his life. And he wasn't physically attractive. In fact, according to some parts of the Bible, in Isaiah 53:2, it says he was nothing to behold in his appearance on the outside. In fact, some scholars, you can refute them. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know. They said, in that culture, back in those days, men might have been maybe a little short, maybe a little thin. I read one account that he was maybe 110 pounds and like 5 feet or whatever. And, those pictures we see about Jesus, right? This good-looking guy with long hair and a nice trim beard and all this stuff. Well, according to the Bible, that's actually not what he looked like on the outside. I think that was deliberate. I believe that was deliberate, okay? If God sent, and the Bible bears that out when it comes to the first ever king of Israel. If you know what happened there, where he picked this guy that was head and shoulders above everybody else, tall, dark, handsome guy. Well, that didn't turn out very well. Then God went to the backside of a mountain and picked a little shepherd, stinky little shepherd boy, and made him the next king. And then in those words, he said, God looks at the heart, not the outward physical appearance. And so be attractive and have an attractive kind of love that people are attracted to you and to me. I want to talk about that today. What attracted people to Jesus? It was the way he approached every single day of his life. It was the way he walked through the crowd. It was the way he looked at you right in the eye and read you and cared about you. It was the way that he would never walk past a situation without getting himself involved. That was attractive about Jesus. Every day he saw the hurt and the heartache that people were going through. Every day. And he put himself right in the midst of people's hurt. He had a three-dimensional kind of love where it wasn't like just words. He would put himself in that situation. Right? Have you ever watched a 3D movie? Last time I watched a 3D movie, I'm not sure what it was, but you have these glasses on, and if there's gunfire or somebody shoots or throws something, literally in the theater you duck because it seems like you're right in that movie. And that's the kind of love that Jesus had. It was a three-dimensional kind of love. He would speak to thousands, then he would go to someone's house and heal them and have supper with them and just hang out with them. And he would touch the leper that everybody was completely scared of and withdrew from and chased them out of the city into their own little colonies and stuff. It was crazy when you watch the life of Jesus, how he just would never, ever, he had this attraction, and that's why thousands followed him. The only people that didn't want to be around him was the religious leaders. Well, they wanted to be around him to catch him doing something wrong. But he was so attractive that people followed him. And it wasn't just the believers of that day. It was just all kinds of people that couldn't get enough of this man. There was something about him. He had an empathy, not just a sympathy for people. There's two words in a dictionary that are very similar. I sympathize with you is me saying, hey, I'm so sorry you went through that. I want to pray for you. If I empathize with you, it's like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm going to walk through this with you. And I'm going to put myself in your, I'm going to drop some food off at your house. I'm going to come and visit. I'm going to knock on your door to make sure you're okay. I'm going to call you, text you, do whatever it takes to make sure I'm walking through this with you. That's called empathy. That's the kind of love that Jesus had that was so incredibly attractive to people. Jesus understood what people were going through because he went through the same stuff. Many times we look at Jesus and we're like, well, he's Jesus, of course. I mean, he can't, how can he possibly get me? Well, there's a reason Jesus came as a baby. There's a reason Jesus was born fully human, according to the Bible. He was fully human, went through everything you and I go through. He understands what people are going through because he went through it all. He went through all of it, according to the Bible. He gets you. Many times we don't think the Son of God gets you. He absolutely gets you. He was a baby. Everything baby's gone through, he went through. He was a toddler. He was a little boy. He was a teenager. If you're a teen here today, he gets you. He was a teen once. He didn't come out of heaven and show up as a fully grown man. No, he went through all those stages of life. So he gets you. So when you come to him, he's like, yeah, been there. I can help. I know what to do. That was him. He was a young man. He was an adult. He's gone through all this stuff. He's not out of touch with you. He's never out of touch with you. In fact, it says in Hebrews 4:15, it says, you don't have a priest, Jesus, who is out of touch with your reality. He's been through weakness, testing, experienced it all. All but the sin. So let's walk right up to him and get what he's so ready to give. Take the mercy, accept the help. That's Jesus. So when I read this now, walk right up to him. Well, I can't walk right up to him. Oh, yes, I can. I can walk right up to you. And you're the one with the mercy. You're the one with the help. When he asks us to do the same things he did, he's not asking something that he wasn't willing to do to the highest degree. The highest degree. In John 14:12, it says, I tell you the truth. Anyone who believes in me will, not may, will do the same things, the same works that I've done. And even greater will he do. What's he talking about? Greater things than raising the dead, greater things than healing the leper, greater things? That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about when I was here, it was me. People would come to me. There was Jesus. There was one person walking around doing this stuff, going to people's homes, healing the sick, feeding thousands and stuff. When I'm leaving, I'm going to my Father. I'm leaving you guys. You will do greater things because there will be more of you. Everywhere you go into your world, you do the same things that I do. That's powerful. That's incredibly powerful. He says, because I am going to the Father. I love this verse. It literally tells me that he trusts me. Phil, I need you. I'm going to go to the Father. So those things you saw me do, I need you to go do them. And you can. You've watched me do this. I've modeled it perfectly for you. Now you go do likewise. It's just a crazy trust that he has entrusted unbelievers. Crazy trust. In Matthew 22, verse 37, Jesus replied, he says, you must love the Lord your God. I used to read this. I'm like, Jesus is commanding me again. Jesus is upset with me. You must love the Lord your God. I believe that never came from an angry command. You must or else. No, Jesus was about to go. And he knew that. My ministry here is ending. My purpose will be fulfilled. I love these people I encounter every single day. I'm going to go back to heaven. What am I leaving? And so I think it's a plea. I really believe it's a plea when he's looking at you and me and says, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart. You must. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. I need you to do this. All the other commands and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commands. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. He needs us. All the other commands. You can be the most perfect person going. I've done the 10 Commandments all my life. You can be the first, but if you don't love others, as Devin was saying, it's all worthless. You'll be a good person. People look at you, oh, there's a good person. They never swear. They never steal. They never lie. They love God. They go to church. All this stuff. But if you walk past the need, and if you walk past the wounded, and we don't get involved in this situation where God desperately needs you and me, all that stuff is worthless. It's all worthless. In 1 Corinthians 16, Paul said, he says, be on guard. Stand true to what you believe. Be courageous. Be strong. And everything you do must be done in love. Everything you do. Wake up in the morning, who can I love today? A person that lives their life motivated by love will always think of others above themselves. Always, always. And that's contrary to human nature. Human nature always thinks of ourselves first. We're born that way. Little kids, little babies, if you've been a parent, you know that, right? The first few years, it's training. It's like, no, honey, you got to share. No, sweetheart, this is not how we do things in our house. And you kind of train them to love and to be unselfish. But we're born with this selfish nature, and that can follow us through the rest of our lives if we're not very deliberate about it. When you're motivated by love, you will do anything for others, even if it's uncomfortable or hard, or it costs you something. When you truly love someone, it doesn't matter what it costs you. It just doesn't matter. You'll just do it, and then worry about the things later. When true love is your motivation, all of a sudden you don't matter as much to you anymore. I think we need to matter less to ourselves. I really believe that because God wants to take care of you and your business and your home and your stuff. When we go out and take care of His world, outside our walls are people that don't know the God that you know. And that's the people I'm talking about. They don't know to run to Jesus. They don't know to run to the Bible. They don't know to pray. But they're going through the same things you are. Now, you know how to pray. You know how to call your pastors and call your prayer chain and call whatever. You know how to come to church, get help. You have surround yourself with incredible Christian believers in your life to stand with you and walk through this stuff. But in your sphere of influence, there's someone who doesn't know that. That's the people I'm talking about. That's the people that need to be attracted to you. And it's that attractive kind of love that will reach your neighbor more than anything else. They see you get up on a Sunday morning, all dressed up, get in your car, back out the driveway, and drive off. They didn't know where you're going, for the most part. Who else would go somewhere else on a Sunday morning? We need to be attracted to people that don't know Jesus, just as much as they need to be attracted to us. It's a two-way street. I lived my life for years. 26 years ago, I made a decision to change my own vision about life. I had this vision of having a home, a nice vehicle, a boat, and a bigger gun, whatever stuff I was into, was my dream and my bucket list. And I made a list of everything, and I worked hard to get some of this stuff working in my life. But at the end of the day, I was miserable until I found a higher call. And I said, God, obviously this is not your vision for me. I know your vision for me must be bigger. So whatever it is, I don't know what it is, God. I can't even begin to tell you. I could not have imagined how God's vision would blow mine completely out of the water. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning every single day. Just blew it completely out of the water. And everything, and absolutely everything. He just blows your vision out of the water. If it's a God vision, keep going with it. But I'm talking just our own selfish, our own self stuff. And I'm not talking about bad things. Those are all good things. To want a good home and a good car and a reliable house and heat, all this stuff and vacations and all that, those are all good things. But if they consume your life and it keeps you from engaging in people that don't know the God that you know, that's not the love that God's talking about. We need to be engaged with the people that don't know Him. We need to find them, and God will show you where they are and walk you past them if you're serious. Trust God. It's a matter of trust that God will take care of your stuff and your things. And your things, it proves it in Proverbs 11:23. It says, the generous what? They prosper and are satisfied. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. There's nothing more refreshing than to bless someone else. In Proverbs 21:21, it says, whoever pursues godliness and unfailing love will find life, godliness, and honor. Everywhere we go, real love is not just words. It's not just things we speak. This week, we want you to speak love as a kind of a challenge this week, but add to that, okay? If you go to someone today, like Devin said, and they're telling you a story, like a neighbor, and says, hey, I'm just thinking about you, hey, how are you doing, whatever, and they tell you something that you may need to get involved in, that's where the action comes in. Then it's not just words. Then it's not just sympathy. Hey, I'll pray for you. No, how can I help you? How can I walk with you through this? Those are little things. I know people who can talk and talk and talk, and they've done that for years. If you're sitting here today, stop just talking. I'm saying it very softly. Stop just talking. God needs you. Isn't that cool to be needed by God? He needs you. I love that He needs me and trusts me so much with the world around me. He trusts me, so I want to do well with it. In 1 John 3:18, it says, dear children, let's stop just saying we love each other. Let us show our love by our actions. It is by our actions that we know we are living in the truth. So you will be confident when we stand before the Lord.